machine or something seriously wrong. So they took her, and I think it was an MRI. They took her back, and before they took her back, she called my mom and my dad and told them that they found something. Well, they all rushed up there, and like so many people filled her room in just that matter of seconds that me and Jacob had to go to the lobby. Well, me and Jacob went out in the lobby. We still weren't scared. We were just texting, not paying attention much. And my dad walks in. Sorry if I cry, this is the part where I usually do. And my dad walks in, and I had never seen my dad cry in his life except for when my mama died. And he walked in with tears in his eyes and said that they found a tumor on my mom's brain. At that moment, I was frozen. I couldn't move, I couldn't cry, and everybody was surrounded, and I just fell apart. And I went back to the room, and my mom was smiling. She was laughing because the doctor before had warned her it was probably a tumor, but she didn't think about it. And I was mad because she got to have that peace, and I was terrified. The thought of losing my mom, my best friend, tore me up inside. Okay. And it scared me. And I can't lie, I'm not gonna lie. Most people get up here and they say they ask God why, and I'd always thought, why do you ask God why? Why do you doubt that God is not going to get you through it? I cried every night asking God why he would take my mom away like this. I might not get the prom experience. And y'all know I'm in like a house filled with guys, and that's not the best thing to be left with, especially the house of guys that I'm with. Well, everybody comes, and like, I couldn't think about it, because the more I thought about losing my mom, the more it hurt. And the more I blamed God that I wouldn't have a mom. I might not have a mom after this. And I'd text everybody, I'd watch TV all night. I could not think about it. I didn't want to think about it. I came to church, and I remember Mr. Roger looking at me and saying that if I needed them, they were there. And I just laughed. I was like, okay. And I just wanted somebody to say, it's okay, Saydee. It'll be all right. And everybody did that, but it just didn't sink through. And like, I went to baseball games and stuff like that, and I just couldn't think about it, and I would still cry. I'd find myself crying in the middle of a baseball game. Well, we were in the hospital. It was when we were in Tupelo Hospital, and me and Nathan and Jacob rode and got Popeyes, and we were coming back up, and they told me to go up with all the food, and they gotta find a parking spot. So I went up, and I was in the elevator, and there was a lady and a man came in, and they looked at me, and I guess they could tell I was distraught, I don't know, but they looked at me, and the lady said, "Where are you from?" And I wasn't even thinking. I was like, Mississippi? And she was like, okay. And I was like, I'm in Tupelo, Holyoke. And I was just like, I'm sorry. She's like, why are you here? And I said, my mom has a brain tumor. And the lady, I can't remember where she was from, but she said, I'm praying for you, and I'll put you on my prayer list. She asked for my name and my mom's name, and she looked at me, and she said, I hope to see you again, just not like this, and I hope your mom's okay. And I cried that whole elevator ride up, and my dad was like, what's wrong? And I couldn't say anything. I was just like, nothing. And then we went to Jackson, and my mom still, she was like, I'm okay with it, God's got a plan. And I was still like, he needs to hurry up and show it to me, because I'm losing them right like that. I couldn't. And I thought I had faith before this happened. I thought, I'm a strong Christian. I can do this. And that hit me, and I couldn't, I guess I didn't find it. But before this, the doctor said it was a softball-sized tumor, and after surgery, it would take her 4 or 3 weeks to recover, and then get to go back to Tupelo Hospital to go to therapy. Well, we were sitting there, and I was crying. I was in Jackson in the waiting room crying, and my little cousin had come to visit me. And I was like, that day was the worst day I'd been, because I'd been crying every 5 seconds because my mom was about to go in surgery. This could either be the moment I lose my mom, or the moment she's okay and I gain a better relationship with her. And I was stressed out. I lost a lot of hair, I lost weight, and I know it might seem impossible, but it did happen. But my little cousin came, and we were walking around Jackson Hospital, and we were sitting by this fountain, and this little girl was sitting there with us, but she was crawling all over the place, and she stood up to see her dad, and she just fell backwards into the fountain. And her face, I was just like, I couldn't help but laugh, and her dad was there freaking out. I was like, oh my gosh. And then was like, I want to go swimming. I was like, okay. And I looked up at God, and I was like, thank you, because that made my day. I had, like, all of that. That's all I could think about. I was like, oh God, this little girl fell in the fountain over there. And then my cousins were there, everybody came, people from church came, and they were all there supporting us. And, like, my dad, I'm not going to say he didn't support me, because he did, but he was scared as hell. And your dad's supposed to be the big, tough guy, nothing can get to him. He's your pillow, your rock, everything. And my dad, he was scared. And to see the man you've known your whole life to protect you, to be scared, makes you scared. And I just couldn't stop asking why. And I said, God, you can't take her away. She's my mom, she's Nathan and Jacob's mom, she's my dad's wife, and we cannot live without her. She is the person that holds us all together. Well, as y'all know, she got out of surgery, and they were rolling her back to the ICU room, and she held out her hand, and you could tell she was hurting. And she held out her hand and was calling for my dad's name. And my mom's always the one that comes and helps me when I'm crying, when I'm hurt and stuff. And to see her hurt, and I couldn't just wrap her up. I wanted to be her mom and just hold her. It's like she's done me all my life. Well, we go back. She's in the room, in the ICU room, and she's still asleep. And I have to tell this part because it's another part. And I was scared to see her. I was terrified that I wouldn't recognize her. She wouldn't remember me. They said there might be memory loss. I was scared that she wouldn't remember me. Well, God put little things in my life to make me smile every day. And me, Nathan, and my great-grandmother were walking back there, and you had to wash your hands before you went back there. And my great-grandma was washing her hand, and Nathan was like, and she kept on walking. Nathan was like, no, Mama, you gotta hold your hands like this. And so she walked through the whole ICU place like this, and I was in the background busting out laughing. Everybody was looking at her. And I was just like, that was another moment where I looked up and I felt God comforting me. But even though I felt him comforting me, I still felt lost. I felt like he didn't have control. I felt confused and angry. And my mom, I go back there, she's laying in bed, and she gets up a couple days later, a couple hours later, and she's herself. She remembers everybody, and she even gets up walking a day after she gets out of surgery. And then she leaves 2 or 3 days after surgery, when she wasn't supposed to leave Jackson for like another 2 weeks. And then we get out, and I go to my cousin's house because we had been in Jackson all day, all this time. And I go to my cousin's house, and my mom sent home after I think it was 4 or 5 days after the surgery, and she goes to my grandmother's house, and then I go to their house, and she looks me in the eyes and says, "Looks like I got a testimony." And I was like, "What?" She's like, "You remember when I said my map didn't go nowhere?" I was like, "Yeah." She said, "It's going everywhere now. It's all over the place." I was like, "Well, that's good." And she was like, "Yeah." And I was happy for her. And I was so glad my mom made it out of surgery. And we got back to church, and everybody showed us how proud they were to see us back. And I was like, I looked at life different now. And then a couple of nights after this all happened, I started back reading my Bible, and I get to a verse, and I can't remember what it says, but a light dawned on me. It's like, that whole time I was talking to God, I never stopped talking to God when my mom was in there, and none of us did. And it made me realize I'd prayed that whole time more than I had ever prayed in my life. And I could see God's blessings, like the little girl falling in the fountain, my grandmother with her hands up like that, just making my day. And I realized that He was there the whole time, and He knew what He was doing, even though I didn't think He did. He gave my mom a testimony. He gave me a testimony. And I was amazed that out of my mom, He could bless us all. And my dad always says, we would never ask for the brain tumor, but after it happens, we're thankful for it. Because it brought us all closer as a family and closer to God. And I guess out of my testimony, I try to tell everybody, God knows what He's doing, and even though it don't seem like it and the picture's not clear, He's got a plan, and the puzzle pieces will fall together. Thank you.